Welcome to Gunsmoke Theater. I'm Dennis Daly. Very few radio or television programs had such an impact on their medium that they changed everything. One of those shows was Gunsmoke. Yes, it ran 20 years on television, but the TV show was a child of the radio show, which itself ran nearly a decade. Sit back now for the next hour as we go back into the archives and play some of those great episodes of the show that changed everything, Gunsmoke. We're moving right along in our 52-part look at one of the great shows of radio, Gunsmoke. The last couple of times we've gotten together, I've talked about the fact that by 1955, late 55, and into 56, Gunsmoke had some competition from itself. Gunsmoke had gone to television. Same concept, same characters, different actors and actresses playing the parts. And the cast and crew of Gunsmoke Radio for a while was absolutely demoralized. Let's go now to February 1956 for another classic episode of Radio's Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
There. I got enough to buy one more drink, Miss Kitty.
You shouldn't spend all your money on me, mister.
Mister? Well, listen to that. Ain't nobody called me mister in my whole life.
How old are you, Billy?
21.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's true.
Well, anyway, you're old enough to be called mister.
Golly, you sure make a man feel good, Miss Kitty.
Thank you, Billy. But you pick up that money now. You've had enough to drink for one night.
Oh, a couple of beers.
Save it for breakfast, Billy. You'll be glad I made you.
Now you ain't treating me like a man, Miss Kitty.
There's no reason why she should, kid. Kitty, huh? You won't have no trouble treating me like a man, Kitty.
Beat it, stranger.
What are you horning in here for?
Go on home to bed, kid. Let's you and me sit down somewhere, Kitty. Talk it over a little.
You wouldn't feel at home, stranger.
What?
There's no hog wallow for you to sit in around here.
People don't talk to Joe Delk like that.
Then Joe Delk had better go back to wherever it is he's got people afraid of him. Not here, mister. Not in Dodge.
They'll be afraid of me in Dodge. You just don't know I'm here yet.
Well, why don't you go let him know and leave us alone?
She's asking you, mister.
I'm telling him.
You heard her.
I'll take care of you in a minute, Kitty. As soon as I get this little blowfly off my neck. Yeah. This your money, kid?
You leave that alone.
Go on, go pick it up before you get into real trouble.
I'll kill you for that.
No, Billy, he's a gunman. Can't you tell?
I don't care what he is.
You killed him. He was only a kid.
I wouldn't care if he was a grown man.
He didn't have a chance against a professional like you.
Nobody I've ever met has. But now people begin to know Joe Delk's in town.
I never heard of Joe Delk.
Well, maybe not, mister, but you've seen what he can do.
I didn't see it.
Matt, that poor kid. I don't even know his last name.
What happened, Kitty?
I'll tell you what happened, mister. He got to crowding me, same as you're doing right now.
This is Marshal Dillon you're talking to.
Oh, Marshal Dillon, eh? Well, I don't mind eating a Marshal now and then.
Did he murder the boy, Kitty?
No, he didn't, Matt. Kid drew first.
Must have been easy for you, Delk.
Real easy, Marshal. It was kind of fun.
Fun. Killing that nice boy. Fun.
Ah, taking my time that way. What are you doing? Give me my gun.
You're not gonna be needing a gun, Delk.
Good, Matt. God! He sure never expected that, did he?
No gunman would, Kitty. But he's sure never gonna forget it.
Introducing one of the country's best-known jazz musicians and arrangers, Mr. Bobby Haggart. How about whistling along with him?
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
The more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, as an open, easy draw that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. Now, Accuray ensures an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. By Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
Morning, Mr. Dillon.
Morning, Chester.
I let Delk out of his cage. He ain't none too spry this morning.
What do you expect me to do, you holding a shotgun on me?
How you feeling, Delk? Outside of your pride being hurt, I mean.
You know what I think of a man who fights with his hands, Marshal?
I don't care what you think about anything.
He's a coward. That's what he is.
It took you by surprise, didn't it?
Of course it did.
And I hurt you, too, didn't it, Delk? Hurt you pretty bad. You wouldn't want to go through that again, would you?
No. No, I wouldn't.
Because I'd kick you half to death next time. Now, what are you doing in Dodge, anyway?
Coming on the Santa Fe yesterday.
I said, what are you doing
Look,
here?
Marshal, just because I had to shoot a man in self-defense.
Boy.
He had a gun, didn't he?
Against you, he might as well have had a stick.
It was still self-defense.
There. There's your gun belt.
You turning me loose?
Put it on.
Okay.
Now, I can't reach you from here with my fists, Delk.
My, that was an awful chance you took, Mr. Dillon. I mean, you might have had to shoot him.
I was pretty sure he wouldn't draw, Chester.
Well, why?
The beating I gave him last night. That takes the vinegar out of a man like Delk. Kind of scares him.
You mean that's why he just walked out of here?
And it could be one reason.
One reason.
Yeah, maybe he's got something in mind.
Like what?
Like finding me when I'm not ready for him. They're putting himself behind a shotgun. They're shooting me in the back. Delk never got hurt that way before. It rattled him some. But he's not through. Not yet.
Can I borrow your spoon to stir my coffee, Matt?
Ah, sure, Kitty. Here
Thanks.
you are.
You'd think this restaurant could afford more than one spoon to two customers.
Well, if they did, they couldn't afford the quality beef they serve.
Then I won't complain. I'd hate to think of eating any lower off one of those animals.
You know something, Kitty?
Huh?
Before long, some bright fella's going to get the idea of raising cattle in one small area where they can live peaceful and grow fat and juicy.
Sounds like a great idea, Matt. Why don't you start it?
No, I got a job.
Well, sure, I forgot. After all, a job with a future like yours.
Oh, now, Kitty.
I can see your gravestone. He didn't die rich, but he sure died stubborn.
I like that. I think I'll use it.
You won't be there.
Well, maybe you'll take care of it for me, huh?
Having dinner with you is real pleasurable, Matt.
Well, thank you, Kitty.
Don't mention it.
Mr. Dillon. Hello, Miss Kitty.
You sit down, Chester. Have some coffee with us.
We ain't got time, Miss Kitty. Doc's gonna be waiting outside any minute.
Doc?
He wants you to go to the Dodge house with him, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, what for?
To see Joe Delk.
Don't tell me somebody's finally shot that ape.
No, it ain't that. He was over the Texas Trail drinking all day yesterday. He sent word to Doc he's sober now, but he's got the shakes and needs something to fix him up.
Wolf poison might help.
Oh, why does Doc want me along, Chester?
Maybe he don't trust old Delk. Anyway, he says he won't go see him alone.
Yeah, well, maybe he's right.
I never heard of a gunman fool enough to drink so much he got the shakes, man.
No, neither did I, Kitty.
Maybe it ain't even true, Mr. Dillon. Maybe he's got something fancy in mind, like you said.
Yeah, maybe. You wait down here, Chester.
Yes, sir.
What'd the clerk say, Matt?
Top of the stairs, the fifth room on the left.
Wouldn't surprise me if he's recovered by now.
No, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 hours since he sent for me. I didn't think he'd hurt him to live with his misery a while.
Yeah, if there was anything wrong with him at all.
No, I heard he'd been drinking yesterday. Jim Buck said he saw him over there.
Man can make a show of drinking and still be sober, Doc.
Yeah, if he's got a reason, you mean.
Yeah.
Hey, shh, wait a minute. This is the room.
Wait a minute. Listen.
Somebody's in there with him.
No, it's just Delk.
No. Get away. Don't hit me. Get away. Stop. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Matt, it's locked.
Stand out of the way, Doc.
No. Don't hit me, Marshal. Don't hit me.
Why, he's asleep, Matt. He's dreaming.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Delk.
No.
Delk. Come on, wake up. Delk, come on.
Marshal, what are you doing here? Who's he?
Well, I'm Doc Adams. You're awake now, Doc. You were having a nightmare.
Yeah. I was dreaming. Where you been? I sent for you hours ago. What'd you bring the marshal for?
What in the world's going on here, Mr. Dillon?
It's all right, Chester. Bill got a little mixed up. He started seeing things.
Yeah, he's dreaming.
Man like you can't afford to dream like that, Doc. You can't afford to get as jumpy as you are.
Doc, give me something. Give me something to take.
Oh, yes, all right. I've got some pills here somewhere. If I can just find them now. Yes, but these pills won't do you as much good as about a gallon of coffee will.
What are you staring at me for, Marshal?
Just taking a last look, Doc.
What do you mean?
2 hours from now, I don't want you anywhere near Dodge.
I ain't done nothing.
You're all through, Doc. Your gun's no use to you anymore. You're afraid.
I had a bad dream. That don't mean nothing.
You got 2 hours, Doc. Go get killed someplace else. I don't want to watch it.
Where are you listening to Gunsmoke? In your favorite easy chair? Or out driving? Oh, there you are. In the kitchen. Say, you want to make whatever you're doing more enjoyable? Have a Chesterfield. Enjoy Chesterfield's better taste and mildness. You see, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. A more perfectly packed cigarette gives you an open, easy draw that unlocks all the better taste and mildness of fine tobaccos. And Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, is more perfectly packed, with an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying. Remember, to the touch, to the taste.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Buy Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
I shouldn't ought to even be in here, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, why not, Chester?
Well, I'm broke.
Well, the beer's on me.
Oh, well, now, I surely do thank you, Mr. Dillon. I am plumb grateful. I truly am plumb grateful to you.
I only figured on buying you one, Chester.
Oh. Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, I see him. Well, he's still got an hour.
Who's that fellow he's talking to?
Some drifter, I guess.
I'll buy you a drink, mister. No, I ain't drinking no more. I only come in for one.
I said I'd buy you a drink.
Sorry, stranger. One's all I can take. I did my drinking yesterday.
I don't like it much when a man's downright unfriendly.
Well, some other time, mister.
I could take it. You think you're too good to drink with me.
No, that ain't what I'm saying. I told you why.
You'll drink with me?
No, I can't.
All right. You're wearing a gun.
No.
Mr. Dillon?
All right, hold it, mister.
Marshal.
Step back, Delk.
What are you interfering for?
Did you ever hear of Joe Delk?
What's he got to do with this?
You were about to fight him.
Joe Delk? Nah, that couldn't be him.
Oh, why not?
Delk wouldn't take that kind of talk. He'd have killed me right off.
Now, you're just lucky, mister.
You really Joe Delk, mister?
I am.
Look, I didn't mean nothing. I didn't know. I gotta be going anyway.
Well, Delk?
It ain't 2 hours, Marshal.
I said I didn't want to watch you get killed here. You go find yourself a horse. I'll be at my office for 30 minutes, then I'm going to come looking for you.
The 30 minutes is up, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah,
You reckon he's left?
I hope so, Chester.
I feel kind of sorry for him.
Do you?
It's him.
Now, just take it easy, Marshal. I ain't looking for trouble. I want to talk to you.
All right, talk.
You seen it? That fellow over at the saloon?
Yeah, what about him?
I backed down, Marshal. I was afraid of him. Don't you understand that?
He was no gunman.
Of course he would. Something's wrong with me, Marshal. Ever since that beating you gave me.
What did you want to see me about, Doc?
You gotta help me.
Help you?
I'm gonna take my gun off. I'm through gunfighting, but you gotta protect me. You gotta do it, Marshal.
I'm sorry, Doc. There's nothing I can do for
I'll
you.
get killed. There's men all over looking to kill me.
You should have thought about that a long time
Well,
ago.
let me stay here, Marshal. You tell everybody to leave me alone. I'll die if you don't.
Doc, let me ask you something. How many men have you killed in your time?
I don't know a lot of them. What difference?
How many like that boy you shot down the other night?
You're against me. You ain't gonna help.
No, I'm not going to help you. 'Cause you're a killer, Doc. You're nothing but a murderer.
All right. I'll go. I don't know where, but I'll go.
Wait a minute, Doc. Did you ever hear that saying about how a man who lives by the sword dies by the sword?
Yeah. I heard that somewhere.
Well, it's true, you know.
I guess it's gonna be true for me.
Yeah.
You know something, Marshal?
What?
I can't think of no reason why someday it ain't gonna be true for you.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobacco.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Firm and pleasing to the lips. Chesterfield. Mild. Yet they satisfy the most.
You know, people on the frontier look down on a buffalo skinner. They referred to him as a stinker, and they avoided him. But next week, one of these outcasts wins the respect of the whole of Dodge. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Sam Edwards, and Clayton Post. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Smokers, this is it.
L&M filters. So good to your taste, so quick on the draw.
Make today your big red letter day, your L&M red letter day. Superior taste and filter, it's the miracle tip. Make today your big red letter day. Change to L&M today.
L&M, so good to your taste.
So quick on the draw.
Get L&M today.
Relax with L&M. So good to your taste, so quick on the draw.
Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
One of the things I'd like to do at this point is to talk about William Conrad. Conrad was born in the fall of 1920 and died in the spring of 1994. He was born John William Conn, Jr. He is, of course, well loved as a radio actor, also in television and films. He moved to Hollywood after serving in World War II as a fighter pilot and began appearing in dark black and white films. The Killers, for example, in 1946. He, of course, created the role of Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke in 1952 and also was the narrator with his voice like this for Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know, it's kind of obvious why William Conrad got into the theater. He was the son of a theater owner. He was exciting theater owner. He excelled in drama and literature at school, and because of his great voice, he was an announcer at one of the big L.A. stations, KMPC, by the late 1930s. His resonant, deep voice made him a star in radio, whether it was with Escape, Suspense, the Lux Radio Theater, Night Beat, and even appearing on Fibber McGee and Molly. He moved to television after Gunsmoke Radio was over, and in addition to doing Rocky and Bullwinkle, we remember him from some of those great shows that he was in. Remember Jake and the Fat Man? And before that, Cannon. Oh, by the way, he owned one of the original Maltese Falcons used in the movie. It sat on a bookshelf in his home until he died in 1994. Now to March 1956, William Conrad and the rest, and another splendid edition of Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Evening, Matt.
Hello, Kitty.
You look a little blue.
Oh, it's cold outside.
Well, you sit down.
Yeah.
I'll have Sam fix you up a coffee grub. That'll warm you.
Why do you think I came in?
Well, you sure know the way to compliment a lady. Maybe I ought to just...
What do you think you're doing?
Matt, look. He's been spoiling for trouble ever since he came in here.
I asked
That's
you a
Murdoch,
question,
huh?
mister.
You know him?
Yeah.
Well, answer.
Nothing. You don't need the whole bar.
What'd you say?
I got as much right here as you.
Is that so?
Matt, he's got a knife.
Wait a minute.
Murdoch! Put it up.
You again, Dillon. Just like the last time. You want more of the same?
It's a little different now, Murdoch.
So I see. You got a badge to hide behind.
Put up the knife. That's better.
This man's crazy, Marshal. I didn't do a thing to him. I didn't mean to jostle him.
It's all right, son. It's over now. Go on about your business.
Yes, sir, Marshal. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What kind of a bone picker is that for the high plains?
Times have changed, Murdoch.
Nothing but settlers and dudes, bone pickers and trackmen, cow wranglers and bluecoats, and lawmen.
There's something you better understand, Murdoch.
Hmm?
When Dodge was full of you buffalo hunters, you could throw your weight around. Well, not anymore.
I ain't changed, Dillon.
Just stay out of trouble.
I'll do as I want.
He always did. What are you doing in Dodge anyway? There haven't been any buffalo around here for years.
Well, maybe I came to see you, Dillon.
And I thought you probably figured me for dead.
Oh, no. I heard about you and your badge.
Maybe it's just as well for both of us I'm wearing it.
I don't fear no man. And least of all, you.
All right. Just let me give you a little warning. If you're thinking of going south for buffalo into Indian territory, I wouldn't.
I do a lot of things you wouldn't.
This is orders from Washington. They don't want any more trouble with the Indians. The territory is closed to hunters. They got cavalry patrols along the line.
I go where I aim to go. And I don't fear no cavalry.
And I got orders to stop anyone.
Have you now?
You just remember what I said.
Matt, he's dangerous. There's a crazy look in his eyes.
You know, Kitty, when the buffalo herds were running, Dodge was 2,000 like him, and not much else.
Well, who is he?
He's the one the Indians call Long Arm. His name's Jace Murdoch.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah. Almost a legend on the frontier. Been on the plains maybe 30 or more years. Beaver trapper, buffalo hunter, Indian scout. He lived with the Indians a long time.
Matt, what's between you and Murdoch? A grudge?
That's the kind of a thing a man doesn't like to talk about or remember, Kitty. When he takes a beating.
You?
I was just in from Missouri. Pretty green. Murdoch and some of his crowd were in town on a spree. But when their fun threatened to include scalping a hide freighter they didn't like, I stepped into it. Like I say, I was pretty green.
They beat you, Matt?
Left me for dead down by the river.
You watch out for him. He's a troublemaker.
Yeah. But right now, I want to find out why he's here.
Introducing one of the country's best-known jazz musicians and arrangers, Mr. Bobby Haggart. How about whistling along with him?
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
The more perfectly packed your cigarette, the more taste and mildness are released for you. Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, as an open, easy draw that unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos. Now, Accuray ensures an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. By Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
I figured Murdoch was in Dodge outfitting a hunt, so I found the merchant who sold him supplies. He couldn't tell me much, except that Murdoch had an Indian with him for a skinner, and that they were camped somewhere outside town. Took me a while, but I found the camp. And when I came up, the Indian was alone. He was a young brave, and he was hunched over the fire, sharpening a long, curved skinning knife. It's all right. Go on. You're a long way from home, aren't you? What are you, Blackfoot?
How do you know that?
The scars on your wrists, the cut arms. Your people do that in mourning some close relative's death, don't they? No. Who are those for? Father, brother, mother? All right. My name's Matt Dillon. I'm a U.S. Marshal. How are you called? Oh, what does Murdoch call you?
When he is not angry, Injun.
And when he is?
Dog eater.
Ah. And he knows his Indian insults. What do your people call you?
It means golden calf.
You're a breed, aren't you?
I'm an Indian.
And then what are you doing here, so far from your tribe, skinning buffalo for a man like Murdoch?
In the lodges at night, my people speak of the pale warrior with the long arm.
Jace Murdoch, huh?
When he was with us, his medicine was good. The plains were dark with buffalo. They gave the Indian all he needed: food, clothes, beds, lodge skins. Now we do not have good medicine. The buffalo are gone.
So you came looking for Murdoch, for Long Arm, to take him back?
Yes. But he would not go, so I stay with him.
And now you're going on a buffalo hunt with him into treaty territory, huh?
He does not tell me where he goes.
Then I'll tell you. He's going to hunt among the few small herds that are left, given by the treaty to the Indian.
I do not know that.
Well, it's true. And if you do this, you're robbing your brothers of the little that's left to them.
That's enough, Dillon.
Hello, Murdoch.
Stand up, dog eater.
Don't hit him again, Murdoch.
I'll do as I please. You got no right to come snooping, Dillon. Asking questions, trying to turn my skin agin me.
And the way you treat him, you'll turn him against yourself. And he may not be so friendly once you two are alone down in the Indian nations.
I don't fear no Indian. Least of all him. I know him. Lived with him plenty of years.
So I heard. They thought you were good medicine then, huh?
Sure. I brought him the long arm. The first gun they ever seen. Gave 'em more meat than they ever seen, too. Sure, I was good medicine.
Yeah, but you've changed some.
I'm not so romantic as I was. I can take 'em or leave 'em alone. Besides, Injun's day is done. A man don't need to walk easy with 'em no more.
I wouldn't be too sure of that.
With this, I can be sure.
Well, you still shoot a big 50, huh?
Yeah, and I can load and fire as fast as another man with one of them new repeaters. And I can drop a buffalo near a mile. Or a man. Hey, killed an Injun once at 1,200 yards. Like to took off his head.
You enjoy killing, don't you, Murdoch?
Oh, I don't mind it.
30 years on the plains have done something to you. Something crazy. Maybe you were a pioneer once, opening up the West, a loner doing what you had to do, making your own law. But your day's finished, Murdoch. You have to abide by the law now.
Are you through, Dillon?
I see by your outfit you're going light and fast. That must mean south. Well, I'm warning you, don't try it.
I'll go where I aim to go. No cavalry will stop me. And I just hope you try.
All right, if that's the way you want it. You cross that line and I'll come after you.
Say, where are you listening to Gunsmoke? In your car? Getting ready for dinner? Oh, I see. Just relaxing in your favorite easy chair. I'd say you're in a good spot right now to really enjoy Chesterfield's better taste and mildness. You see, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. A more perfectly packed cigarette gives you an open, easy draw that unlocks all the better taste and mildness of fine tobaccos. And Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, is more perfectly packed, with an even distribution of tobacco from one end of your Chesterfield to the other. Firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying. Remember, to the touch, to the taste.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
By Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
I could have sent word to the colonel out at Fort Dodge and let the cavalry handle Murdoch. But this was something personal. It was a job I wanted to do myself. I couldn't touch Murdoch until he crossed the line into the Indian nations, so the next morning I just watched him drive out of town. I gave him a couple of hours, and then Chester and I started on his trail. Went straight south, across the Arkansas, into the nations.
I don't know, Mr. Dillon, it seems almost too easy. His wagon tracks in the snow going straight as a board as far as you can see over the next rise.
Yeah, I know, Chester, but we better keep our eyes open. We should be getting close to him now.
Well, I guess ain't nothing to worry about, as long as we can see his tracks up ahead.
Maybe not, but we'll come up on that rise easy. Just might be waiting for us on the other side.
Well, I don't know. The way he ain't bothering to carve his trail, it seems like he ain't expecting us to follow him. Maybe he didn't believe you.
Don't count on it.
No, I ain't. I swear this ain't the time of year for traveling, is it? Good time for buffalo hunting, though. Coats will be prime. And if I was... Mr. Dillon!
Chester, you hit?
No, sir, he didn't get me. He got my horse, but I'm pinned down.
All right, I'll get you out.
Mr. Dillon, look out. He's still shooting.
All right, just stay flat behind the horse. Now, you pull your leg out when I lift up on the saddle, huh?
Yes, I will. Oh.
There. Now, stay low.
Mr. Dillon, where'd that shot come from?
Well, I'm not sure, but I... Yeah. From over in that rim of rock there.
You must have circled around.
Yeah, we rode right into a trap. How's your leg?
Well, it ain't broke, I don't think. But it hurts some, all right. Oh, I'm afraid I ain't gonna be much use to you, Mr. Dillon.
Now, don't worry about it, Chester.
But what are we gonna do? We can't just lay here in the snow. We'll freeze.
That's probably what Murdoch's thinking.
He sure planned it neat. Got us pinned out here in the open. No cover anywhere near. Mr. Dillon, my rifle's under the horse. Maybe we can...
No, it wouldn't do any good anyway, Chester. It's too far. Only his buffalo gun has this range.
Yes, sir. I got it. Why, now he shot your horse, Mr. Dillon. There was no need for that.
Yeah. He's showing us how great a hunter he is, Chester.
What are we going to do without horses?
We'll worry about that later. Right now, there's one thing we can do. Get up to those rocks and rush him.
But how?
Well, his Big 50's a single shot. He's got to reload between shots.
He's doing it mighty fast.
Yeah, but while he is, I could be moving.
Oh, Mr. Dillon, you wouldn't never make it. Why, that's 500 yards or more.
Now, you got any other ideas, Chester?
No, sir, I ain't. Oh, darn this leg.
It's all right, Chester. This isn't your fight anyway. Well, I think I'll draw a shot and see just how fast he can reload.
No, Mr. Dillon.
1, 2.
You're taking an awful
3,
chance standing up like
4,
that, Mr. Dillon.
5.
No, gracious.
All right. Now we know. 5 seconds.
That ain't very long.
Well, it'll have to be long enough. Well, Chester?
Yes, sir. Good luck, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Same to you, Chester. Hey, Murdoch! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like hunting buffalo, is it, Murdoch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you're getting closer, Murdoch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, maybe he's caught on. Hey, Murdoch! You couldn't be out of ammunition, could you? Huh. I wonder. Hey, Murdoch! I lay there half covered by the snow, knowing Murdoch might easily be holding me in the sights of his rifle. But I also knew I couldn't lie there much longer. I'd freeze before darkness could give me the cover I needed. Then I saw movement among the rocks. It was Golden Calf. He walked to the rim, then started down toward me. The body of Jace Murdoch, lifeless in his arms. I got up and went to meet him. And as I approached, Golden Calf stopped, and after a moment, he placed the body gently on the ground. Why did you do it, Golden Calf?
I know now you spoke the truth. His medicine was not good. Not anymore.
Is that the only reason you killed him? Here? Now? All right, thanks, anyway. I'm going to have to take you back. But nobody will convict you for saving the life of a U.S. Marshal. Well, we're going to have to bury him.
Yes.
Here, wait a minute. Let me see your wrist. That's a new gash. Was Murdoch a relative of yours?
He was my father. I am Golden Calf, the son of Long Arm.
Oh. Well, all right, Golden Calf. Let's get started.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Chesterfield, made by exclusive Accuray, packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Unlocks all the pleasure of fine tobaccos.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
Firm and pleasing to the lips. Chesterfield. Mild. Yet they satisfy the most.
You know, the arrival of a Texas herd in Dodge usually meant celebrating and a general hurrahing of the town. But next week, a herd arrives with a murdered man. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The special music for Gunsmoke was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Nestor Paiva, Sam Edwards, and Harry Bartell. Harley Bear is Chester, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Smokers, this is it. L&M filters. So good to your taste, so quick on the draw.
Make today your big red letter day, your L&M red letter day. Superior taste and filter, it's the miracle tip. Make today your big red letter day. Change to L&M today.
L&M, so good to your taste.
So quick on the draw.
Get L&M today.
Relax with L&M. So good to your taste, so quick on the draw.
Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
You know, it's really ironic. As we listen to all of these Gunsmoke episodes from the 9-year run and realize how comfortable the character of Matt Dillon has become, portrayed by William Conrad, who was able to be blustery and angry and mean and sensitive, all in a 2 or 3 minute period, it's difficult to realize that when the show was originally being cast, everybody was saying, ABC, ABC, anybody but Conrad. He was that overexposed in broadcasting. But when he made his audition for the show, that ABC slogan disappeared. And that's it for this time around. I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for joining me on Gunsmoke Theater as we go back into the archives to play more of the episodes of the radio show that changed everything for the better. Gunsmoke, right here on YouTube.